Hello and good morning, Doctor. My name is Zafar Muhammad, and on behalf of the team, we would like to present on one of the most significant aviation disasters in recent history. Before that, I would like to introduce the team members. We have Hamza, Bathma Lusaini, Navina, Desmond, and Danny. In October 2018 and March 2019, two Boeing 737 MAX aircraft crashed within minutes of takeoff, claiming nearly 350 lives. These weren't random accidents, they were the result of a series of engineering and management decisions that prioritized speed and cost over safety decisions that violated fundamental principles. It is observed that at the center of these tragedies was a piece of software called MCAS. This software was designed to compensate for changes Boeing made to the aircraft's engine. But here's the critical failure. It relied on a single sensor that could malfunction, which was not properly disclosed to the pilots. Failure of the sensor propels the aircraft to do an uncontrolled nose down dive. This case forces us to confront uncomfortable questions. A. What happens when competitive pressure overrides engineering judgment? B. When does organizational culture silence the voices that matters most? C. How do we ensure that the paramount responsibility of engineers to protect public safety doesn't get lost in the pursuit of market share and profit? Through this presentation, we can see that the chain of events are not just on airplane crashes alone, but also it is critical reminder that engineering ethics is not just an idea, but it is a matter of life and death.
Let me continue the question one for the summary of the main issue, the problem facing by the organization. The core technical issue is the MCAS design flaws. For example, single point of failure, repeated activation, unlimited power and override difficulties, and also the lack of redundancy. The second is the problematic hardware and the software integration. For example, the software band A. And the third one is a additional technical problem discovered after the grounding. And for the cross safety issue is the design process and the communication. The first one is the failure to provide the redundancy for critical sensor. The second one is a lack of pilot disclosure and training. For example, non-disclosure, no simulator training, and also the floated safety analysis and certification process. And the fourth one is a faulty emergency response. And the last one is an ineffective self-certification system. Thank you. I pass to the following presenter.
Good morning, Doctor. Okay, for question one, I will explain the main issue facing Beijing from two areas, which is organizational issue and culture issue. First, from the organizational issue perspective, Beijing faced a strong profit and cost pressure. The company was under pressure to compete with Airbus, so management forced on launching the 737 MAX quickly, and also reducing costs and avoiding extra pilot simulator training. This creates a situation where business target becomes stronger than safety priority. Second one is there was a weaker role of engineer in decision making. Beijing was traditionally known as an engineer company, but in this case, major decisions were increasingly influenced by management and financial goals. Engineer safety concern did not have enough power to stop or quick question risk decision. Third one is the Beijing at a poor communication between departments, engineering management, certifications, and market team work in silos. So important information about MCAS not properly shared across the organization. Fourth one is there was a lack of transparency with the pilot and airlines. MSC was not clearly explained in the pilot manual, and also pilot were not properly trained to handle the system before the crash. This reduced the pilot preparedness and affect the stakeholder trust. From the culture issue perspective, the first issue was the shift from the engineer culture to business culture. Beijing culture moved away from safety and engineering excellence toward profit, efficiency, and stakeholder value. Second one is the company developed a weak safety culture. Safety risks were not treated seriously enough because management want to avoid delay, cost and certificate problem. Third one is the Beijing showed a silo mentality where different teams focus only on their own areas instead of working together to understand the full risk of MCS. Fourth one, there was obedience to authority. Some employees had doubt, but the culture did not strongly enough them to challenge senior management or speak up openly. So, in my view, that was the Beijing 737 Max case teaches an important lesson such as organized culture is not just about internal behavior, it directly influences ethical decision making, risk management, leadership quality, and public safety. When profit, speed, and authority become stronger than safety, transparency, and professional courage, and the organization can lose public trust and create serious human consequence. Thank you. I will pass to next presenter to present.
To prevent future crises, here are a few strategic management and leadership solutions that we can propose to resolve the issues. The first is to redefine the vision and mission of the company. Rather than being centric around profitability, companies should focus on the safety aspects of the people. And second, the vision and mission should align with the corporate goals and operational practices. Companies can embed ESG criteria in their goals, such as introducing performance metrics that balance the financial outcomes with other aspects such as the passenger safety, innovation, and employee well-being. Second is incorporate cultural transformation programs. Shift from hierarchical obedience culture to open communication. This will allow the engineers and also other employees to challenge the decisions by the management without having any fear of retaliation. Third is to integrate enterprise risk management. Company can embed risk assessment into every stage of product development. In this way, the management will be more aware of the technical risk related to their operation. Fourth is to enhance the stakeholder management. We have to consider the interests of all, including the regulatory body, passengers, and employees. And we have to regularly engage the stakeholders through surveys and feedback mechanism form. The fifth is to improve the corporate governance. Company can form an independent board to oversight engineering and safety matters. In this way, it can ensure the transparent reporting about the safety risk, incident, and corrective actions.
Thank you, Navina. When we look at the tragedies of the 737 MAX, the traditional instinct is to avoid point to the pilot error. However, academic research proved that these crashes were the result of toxic corporate culture and a flawed organization architecture. Following the 1997 merger, our dominant logic shifted dramatically from engineering safety to Wall Street financial metrics. Money, 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 profit, profit, profit. This profit-driven mindset created severely blind spots. It allowed software to be used as an aid or band-aid to replace physical aerodynamic instabilities and keeping pilots in the dark to avoid returning cost. Furthermore, our rigid corporate hierarchy creates authority bias trap, forcing ethical engineers into silent obedience mode out of fear of their careers. You make noise, you voice something, you complain, out you go, your career is gone. Now, ladies and gentlemen, to fix this, we cannot rely solely on so-called superficial software patches. We must implement a dual authority safety governance model. What does that mean? This established a chief safety engineer with parallel power executive power to the CEO and direct reporting line to the board. The CSE, which is chief safety engineer, will hold absolute power, unilateral, no or stopward authority if he or she finds the safety is at a compromised level. By restructuring the whole entire hierarchy to place global passenger safety at the absolute center of the our enterprise, only then we can dismantle corporate silo, protect internal disagreement if it has to, and structurally ensure that financial urgency will never ever override human life again. Thank you, and I'll pass to my next presenter.
When we look at the Boeing 747 MAX tragedy through the lens of strategic agility, we see a dangerous reality. Agility without ethical guardrails is just unregulated speed. Boeing was highly agile in responding to market threats, but their speed outpaced their safety interlock. To build truly agile and safe organizations, we must re-engineer the three pillars of strategic agility. First, we must enhance strategic sensitivity by prioritizing internal safety signals over competitor tracking. Boeing accurately senses their competitor moves, but they completely ignore internal technical warnings. True sensitivity requires establishing unfiltered truth sensing channel. Dissenting technical insights from engineers must reach executive decision makers rapidly without being suppressed by middle management or production pressures. Secondly, we must drive resource fluidity by developing resources resolve core technical debt. Fluidity shouldn't mean forcing a low-cost software band-aid like MCAS to mask physical aerodynamic instability just to stay on schedule. Instead, flexibility means dynamically upgrading safety and regulatory analysis. Any rapid operational shift or software modification must automatically trigger a complete overhaul of cross-functional safety matrices and redundancies checks, especially in the aerospace industry. Finally, we must cultivate collective commitment by anchoring our shared vision firmly to the engineering code of ethics. Boeing leadership and culture become heavily unified but all-round financial targets rather than safety. A safety agile organization restricts safe-to-fail iterations strictly to stimulate environments. We can rapidly experiment in design, but we maintain zero tolerance for risks when passenger lives are on the line. To wrap things up, the core takeaway from Boeing's situation is the danger of prioritizing profit over safety, shifting away from engineering-centric culture, creating silos and sideline technical authority. To fix this, we recommend implementing a dual authority safety governance model. This gives an independent safety reporting line, direct board access, and unilateral stop work authority. Finally, driving operational speed and insight requires cross-trained teams and unified leadership. This allows the organization to rapidly allocate resources and iterate designs without friction.